Dr. Kevin Radio Network presents Taking Control of Your Health, The Third Opinion, with Trisha Facklitis, licensed acupuncturist. And now, here's your host, Trisha Facklitis.
It has to do with the placement of furniture. It helps in your life. It helps with your career. It helps with so many things. You're listening to Taking Control of Your Health, where we offer you the third opinion, and we are on the awesome Dr. Kevin Radio Network, where they challenge everything. And this is another aspect of things that you can challenge. Make your life a little bit better. Why not? Someone's going to try to knock you down anyway. So we're going to have a good time, but I got to tell you, we are inviting people to go on Facebook. You can, Goldfish Acupuncture has a Facebook page where you can ask any questions of the Feng Shui expert that you want. And I got to say, we certainly would like you to, but I got to tell you also, today is my birthday. But what's better yet, it's Hump Day. So we're going to get Tina Falk on the radio, and I said Falk, F-A-L-K, so if it didn't come out right, sorry. But we're going to get her on board, and you can ask any questions that you want. She's going to tell you a whole lot of things that you just need to know.
Hello.
All right, there she is.
Hi, Trisha.
How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for having me, and happy birthday.
Well, thank you, but better yet, it's Hump Day. Okay, so now, a lot of people are going to want to know all about Feng Shui, and we're still getting a ringing thing going on. Oh, I guess it stopped now. I thought we were getting some background or something. So tell me, for one, how long have you been doing what it is that you do?
Oh, my goodness. I think Feng Shui has always been a part of my awareness, even as a teenager, although I didn't quite realize that that's what it was back then. Professionally, I've been studying and practicing and implementing the classical form school and BTB schools of Feng Shui since 2006.
Okay, so you said classical forms, and what was the other one?
BTB, or Black Hat sect.
You'll have to explain what that one is.
Well, there's 3 schools of Feng Shui, believe it or not. The one that we're typically used to here in the Western Hemisphere is the BTB, or the Black Hat Feng Shui. And that is a form of Feng Shui that was brought over from a Chinese teacher. And he tried to teach Westerners a new way to look at the compass, and he created a bagua. So that's where you'll see the square format with the 9 sectors in it. That's the school that came from, is the BTB. And that's really where the intuitive aspect of Feng Shui comes from. And the placement of furniture, the colors, looking at the 5 element theory, that's really more of the westernized Feng Shui, where the classical Feng Shui really follows the scientific astrological aspects of the ancient Chinese.
Okay.
And then the foreign school, that's the land form. We want to make sure that we're paying attention to the property that your home or your business is sitting on and the surrounding property to know if it's supporting you or depleting the energy.
Okay.
So,
go ahead.
So when I do Feng Shui, I overlap all of those. They're all important to me. Part of the other aspect of classical Feng Shui is the Chinese astrology charts, or the Eastern astrology chart called 4 Pillars of Profile. And that allows us to really get a glimpse at you on a personal level before even getting into your home and adjusting things that maybe wouldn't support your chart.
Right. Well, I had a little bit of training from one of my instructors when I was in acupuncture school, and there was the flying star, which I never fully understood. He says you use your hand like a calculator, and showed us like the pattern in which to do this, but never really sunk in. I think my mind must have shorted out at that time. I wasn't sure what he was talking about on that. Could you explain that? That has to do more with the classical. Is that correct?
It is. It is part of the classical Feng Shui. Each of the 8 degrees of the compass, the main 8 degrees, the south, north, east, west, and then the directions in between, hold a number. And that's kind of like the natal chart or the birth chart of the planet. So each one has a number correlated to it. And you'll find that in the BTV school as well on their Bagua. But the flying stars is just that. It's the stars and the planets. It's following the astrological signs as they travel through time. And so these stars then rotate around the compass or the Bagua, depending on what time of year it is, what day it is. So they're constantly changing. Now, there's some practitioners that, they'll focus on placing those annual adjustments to secure those stars or to enhance a star that might be really positive, or to kind of squash a star that might, be bringing conflict or unhealth with it. And then, but then you can look at the monthly aspects as well as the daily and the hourly aspects. There's some practitioners, perhaps that they will not schedule, construction on their home during certain periods of the day or the week because they know a certain star is activated that may be a quarrel or a violent star that would not serve anybody if that star gets disturbed.
Okay. Well, I get that. And so, what about numerology? How much does that play into the Feng Shui?
Oh, it plays quite a bit. And those stars, like I said, each have a number. So we always want to overlay the numerological aspects of that. And even in traditional numerology that you might, be learning or be familiar with, these stars, there may be some aspects that are new. It's like, wow, I haven't seen that aspect before. But if you overlay that with the numerology that you already have, you can see how they work together.
Right.
That's one thing I've really loved about Feng Shui is, through the years, whether I work with chakras or the essential oils or numerology or whatever it might be, all of that stuff really lays over quite nicely in such a supportive way when I'm doing a consultation or teaching a class.
And so for anyone that doesn't know what a chakra is, it's just an energy certain level or area within the body that rotates in a particular direction. As long as everything is balanced, it's kind of like, think of your in your car, those serpentine belts, they wrap around in different parts. As long as that moves fine and everything's balanced, it all works. So a chakra is something like that if you're going to put it into a more familiar analogy that someone might know. Maybe you have a better explanation, Tina. I mean, how else would you describe that?
No, I like what you said. Really all we've talked about here is energy. There's just so many different ways to interpret the energy, whether you want to just interpret it with color or light or numbers. It's just energy and understanding. There's different people that kind of catch on to different things, and they might just resonate with a certain style or a certain methodology. And as a practitioner, if I can offer up something that somebody can connect to, then that's a good thing, because then that kind of opens and expands their experience.
Right. And I think the word energy is one that is so misunderstood by so many people, and it's so simple. I mean, when I explain energy or chi to people, they sometimes you get this. It's like rolling of the eyes. It's like, like I'm from another planet or something. But seriously, breathing in oxygen, that's chi, that's energy. Eating food is energy. The wind is energy. Water has energy. Everything has energy in it. So if you have energy that's blocked, everything associated with that energy is going to be blocked too. So for those of you who are listening, energy is not weird. You're surrounded by it all the time. And so the more free flow you have, the more it is able to free flow and bring in money energy. Money also has energy associated with it, and many times negative, but so look at it from a wealth perspective, and so we want to make sure we have as much wealth coming in as possible. And, even Donald Trump, one of my favorite people in the world, has used Feng Shui people in Feng Shui in a building if that building was to be used by people who are familiar with Feng Shui because they believe in it. Even maybe not necessarily he believes in it, but if they do, you give the customers what they want. And so I've used it in my own office. We've used it in our own house, and it just makes a lot of sense. And life is easier that way. So now tell me about that third form, because this is what I'm not familiar with.
The form school?
Yes.
Okay, or another term for that would be land form.
Okay.
Ideally, wherever you're at now, if you just picture yourself where you're sitting in your home.
Okay, well, Tina, all right, I'm sorry, Tina, but we're going to go into a break here. So we're going to learn more about the land form school when we come back from this break.
You're listening to the Dr. Kevin Radio Network.
City, Utah. So it's a gorgeous day out here, a little chilly, but it is still a nice day. And we are on the Dr. Kevin Radio Network, where we're going to challenge everything. We have with us today Tina Falk, who is a Feng Shui expert. She's telling us a couple different forms of Feng Shui. It's just not one. So now we're talking about the land form of Feng Shui. So Tina, tell us a little bit more about that.
Sure. So the Feng school is actually the original Feng Shui. Chinese used that methodology of understanding the topographical area of the land when they were creating cemeteries and wanting to create auspicious places and positions to bury their loved ones. And so ideally, your home or your business, as you're sitting in your home, to think about, where your front door is facing. What direction are you facing? Is there a street out in front of your home? A lot of us live in townhomes or apartment complexes where our front door might be off of the road or an office, or for instance. But ideally, there's an energy called the red phoenix, and that's what carries the chi. And that chi is moving from left to right past the front of your home or your business. And you want to make sure that you're capturing the attention of that chi and getting it up to your front door. That's where we want the house number to be visible. If the mail is coming to you or the chi is bringing good luck and health and prosperity to you, you want it to find your address. You want to have your front entry walkway to be clear of debris so that the chi can get to your front doorway easily. You want it to be decorated and inviting. I tell my clients oftentimes to kind of picture chi as like the energy of like a puppy dog. It doesn't have any intentions. It doesn't have any judgments. It's just kind of this energy that is really free-spirited, and it goes where the attention is. If it hears a noise or somebody calling it or offering food or a bright, shiny, flashy thing, it's going to get the attention of that chi. And so once you get that chi up to your front door, then you can allow it to come into your home. But go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, I love that analogy of a puppy. It has no intentions. That's so cute, and it's so true too. And the big thing about the land is when you're buried. If you're buried in a place where the Feng Shui is good, that energy actually carries on to the live members of your family and beyond, which is one of the reasons why they wanted to spy out, the most beautiful place to be buried. So, yes. That's awesome.
So just to continue there, the chi is moving then from the left to the right. And, a lot of us, especially around the valley here in Salt Lake, we live on these benches where, we might be living up a hill. And, think about how the chi is going past your home. For instance, it would be following the vehicles driving past your home on the right side of the street. Is it a climb? Is it hard work for that chi to get up to your home? Or is it moving really swiftly because it's going downhill? Or is it really flat and it's needing kind of some pull? That's the kind of thing you want to think about. And then in turn, on the left side of your home, that's where we have the green tiger, the green dragon energy. That's energy that would be higher than your home. So perhaps you have taller trees, or the home next to you is a taller roof line than you have, or you have neighbors on this side where they have the children and they're the ones playing and throwing the parties. You want active energy on the left so that it's going to travel and get pulled down to you on their right. On the right side of your home is where the sleeping white tiger lies, and that's an energy that you don't want to disturb. That's where you want the quiet neighbor. the house that sits lower than yours. So you can kind of visualize how the road, even in front of your house, then should be a little high on the left and then slightly slope down on the right. Not too fast, not too slow, but just enough for the chi to have time to recognize your house so it's not flying past your house and it misses you. But then in the back of your house, you need to have the black tortoise, and that would be the mountain or the hill, something that supports the energy of the home so that when the chi does come onto your property, that it's contained there. It's your chi. You've worked it. You've called upon it. You've allowed it to come into your home, and now you want to keep the good chi that you've, allowed in. And so in a sense, kind of picture your property ideally to be like an armchair, where you have the arms of the chair, your house is sitting on the seat, and then you have the high back of the chair, and all the energy is out front.
Well, there's always ways to correct things too. Should people have bad energy, we've given some feng shui tips at one point on the show, and the number 4 is a number that is not good to have in your address. So if you're going to buy a house, just kind of avoid that one. But if you have your green dragon on your left side, cool. But what if someone disturbed your white tiger on the other side? And it all sounds very metaphorical, and you're looking out and seeing a white tiger is not really going to happen. So let's say that things on the right side of your home do get disturbed. How are you going to correct that?
There's so many different ways, whether it is planting some more, some foliage there that kind of is low to the ground that keeps things quiet and kind of hushed, or perhaps it's putting in place some large stones that kind of ground that energy. I highly recommend, even for people if they don't have the proper, we don't always have the proper feng shui. Some of us, our backyards are swooping down a hill or a side. And it is really simply you could get a symbol, something that symbolizes, whether it's a figurine or a statue or a picture of a green dragon, a white tiger, the black tortoise, or the red phoenix, and place those. You would place the green dragon to the left of your front door as you're going to head out your front door, and you place a white sleeping tiger that's lying down, nothing that's growling or in an active pose. Place that on the right side of your door looking out, and then at the back of your house, whether it's in your yard, you could even plant a heavy stone or something and declare this, give it its intention. Say, this is your job. You're acting as my black tortoise. You're here to support my family and our health and our well-being. And make sure, and this is the part of feng shui that's the BTB stuff, is the intention that's behind what you place. Really understanding that.
Right. And I got to say, if anyone out there thinks that this is all crazy, that's okay. You can think whatever it is you want, but do it anyway. And you will see a difference. And when the energy changes, it is instant. It's not like it's going to take a week or two. It is instant, and it changes very, very quickly. Tina, what I always wanted to do is get like a group of us who do have experience with feng shui. And I'd like to feng shui Detroit. Wouldn't that be fun?
Feng shui what?
Detroit.
Oh,
I can city.
Yeah, I can figure a few other places I'd like to feng shui too.
On a very large scale. Wouldn't that be interesting? Because it is in such in a bad state of affairs right now. That how would that work if we were to feng shui a city?
I think it would be amazing. I could visualize, having someone with a strong intent, in each of those directions, those 8 directions, and then in the center, holding the intentions of that space. And, there's so many people that do travel around the world, and, the peace troubadours who really pay attention to the woes and the pains of the earth and move to heal. And that's what feng shui is. It's about healing.
Right. And so, water element is one that holds money energy, and you'll see a lot of really expensive houses that always have a fountain or some sort of moving water, and sometimes stationary water in the front, because it does hold the money energy depending on which direction it's facing. And so with the large body of water in Detroit, you can't really correct that because I think it's just too much energy, and it must be flowing in the wrong way. I'm trying to get a handle on how to correct something that is too much.
Mm. Yeah, that's a tough one. And I have a feeling, the stars will probably play a lot of that too. If we were to you could take the flying stars map or the compass or a bagua, and you can really apply it to anything. You can apply it to your whole home or just a room or all the rooms of your house or the block or a city or the country or the world. And just looking at the flying stars compass right now, Detroit really sits in the northeast sector. And, for instance, the northeast has the 7-star, the retribution star has flown in there this year. And last year, it was a different star. So, to definitely look at the stars and the energy that's going on there too.
Right. Yeah, because the energy changes every 20 years.
It's changing every day, every
right.
minute.
But I mean, as far as going through the stars, wasn't it? I believe I remember it was every 20 years that it goes through.
Well, there's 9 stars, so it's every 9 years.
Oh, maybe I'm thinking of something else. I just thought maybe it was the energy of the house that changes every 20 years. I just remember 20 years.
Yes, you're right there.
Uh-huh. Oh, okay. So
yes.
I was thinking, I was saying the wrong thing, but thinking of the right thing. Okay, because and we had a house that was a reverse house, and my instructor in school, I brought in the house plans, and he gave us our little compass, and we go and get the direction, and I go back in, he looks at it, and he said, "Are you right? Are you sure that you're right on these directions?" I said, "Yes." And he says, "Well, you have a reverse house." I was like, "Oh my God, what is that?" So essentially, the money energy was coming in through the very small window in the utility room. It was flipped, and I said, "Well, gosh dang it! Had I known about Feng Shui before we built the house, we would have turned it around." Mm-hmm. And it was getting worse and worse every year. So we're certainly happy to be out of that house. But sure. I always found it fascinating that he wanted to. He says the best way to change the energy in the house is you have to take the roof off in 3 months. Kind of lets the elements in.
Yeah, in a sense, you do give the home a new birthday when you do change the roof, get a new roof, or if you replace the whole house with new carpet, even replacing the front door will change the age of the home and put you into another space.
Wow. Yeah, and all of that was certainly pretty dramatic, so we just left. So, I mean, it was getting worse and worse, and we were trying to offset it, and it just wasn't working. So when you go to Feng Shui someone's house, let's say when someone calls you up and says, I think I need some energy or some help, because I told you earlier, the woman that came to Feng Shui in my house, it was hemorrhaging money big time, and she stopped it instantly. So when you go into a house, how long does it take, and what kind of information are you going to get from those people? I want those answers because we're getting ready to go to a break. Another one is, so we're going to learn more about how Tina Feng Shui's a house. So come back with us in a couple.
You're listening to the Dr. Kevin Radio Network.
Okay, we're back. Thanks for joining us again. This is Tricia Facklitis, licensed acupuncturist in beautiful Salt Lake City, Utah, and this is Taking Control of Your Health, where we offer you the third opinion. We're here with Tina Falk, who is a Feng Shui expert. This chickie knows exactly what she's doing. I'm going to have her over for tea. So anyway, so Tina, we're talking about, so when you go into someone's house and you're going to Feng Shui the house, how long does it take? What sort of process do you go through?
Oh, this is a great question. The first thing I do is I want to know the people before I get in the home. And the best way for me to do that is to pull their 4-pillar profile, their Chinese astrology chart. So I will request the birth information for everyone who lives in the home or everyone who works in the business on a full-time basis. I want to know, where these people are coming from. And like I briefly said earlier, the Chinese astrology chart is going to show you the aspects of the hour, the day, the month, and the year that you were born. Each one of those 4 pillars is so influential in who you are. And each one of those periods in time was imprinted upon you with an element in a yin or yang form, one of the Chinese elements, which is metal, water, wood, fire, and earth, as well as one of the animals of the zodiac. So everybody has 4 animals in their Chinese zodiac. And then when I get to see the percentages or the strengths or the weaknesses of the elements that are within your personal chart, this now gives me a guide that when I come to your home, that, I don't, for instance, if you are really high in fire, I absolutely wouldn't encourage more fire in your space, because fire to fire is going to make more fire. It's going to make things too heated and too much to be around, and a lot of destruction can come out of that much fire. So just simply knowing the elements for each family, so then we can look at them individually and as a whole, but to know if, I heard you saying earlier, you weren't sure which office in this beautiful office that you have that you wanted to set up your office in. So each one has such specifics and certain idealistic places that we could place you in directions and in support of the animals and the elements that sit in your charts. So that is the first thing I do. And we will spend, depending on how many people you have in your family, quite a bit of time going over those charts.
Right.
Because it's a 2-page chart. I'm very thorough. And I want to be sure that when I leave your home or your office that you have a tool, that you're able to look back at these charts and kind of interpret them based off, the mini lesson I've given you or shown you how to read your own chart. Because I don't want you to have, give me this power and say, well, I got to call Tina and figure out what's going on. I want you to feel empowered to make those choices and to see who you are. So we'll, for instance, a family of 4, we'll probably spend 2.5 hours on going over the charts. And that just gives us a really good foundation. Now,
and being thorough is so important, because some people just I saw a show where these people just walked in, they hired like 4 or 5 different Feng Shui people, and every single one of them had a different opinion. And I don't think they ever got any sort of background information on the people. I may be wrong on that, but because I only saw what they showed us on TV, but knowing the people who are in the space certainly makes a huge difference. And they were just trying to Feng Shui just the front entryway.
Mm-hmm.
And so I like what it is that you do.
Yes, it's such a huge part of what I do. And in fact, I'll even do classes where we just do the 4-pillar profiles. But then, depending, that's a lot of information to take in. Sometimes I can offer quick, things, suggestions to make, like in their bedrooms, just because of what we've talked about in their charts. Maybe look at a couple things in their house if they're pressing, if there's health issues or relationship issues. And then most likely we'll set up a second consultation to do a complete walkthrough. Allow you some time to absorb everything that we went over on your charts, because I know there's going to be more questions and more insights that you're going to catch on to. So then I can come back to your house when you're ready, and then we can do a walkthrough of your home. And then so we'll walk through the whole house and look at things in relationship to all of the charts and relationship to the landform and the compass where the stars have flown in for the year. We want to pay attention to all of that things, especially if you have a child who's struggling in school, or you have, a breakdown in communication in the home, or if you have someone who isn't sleeping well or who isn't recovering well. We want to take a look at all of those things. And then to wrap all of that up, I will do a home blessing or clearing and inside and around the property. And depending on the size of the property, that doesn't take too long. And then I'm always leaving with the, follow-ups, emails, phone calls, all kinds of questions are going to come up, and I'm absolutely available to anyone who wants to keep moving forward with it.
So a whole process. So it's not just a one and done. I mean, it can continue in order to keep things going better and better and better.
Mm-hmm. Yes, okay. It's your journey, and I'm there to support you in whatever way you need.
Awesome. Journey was probably the most perfect word for that. So now you teach this too at your school. So I want everyone to kind of know, how long does it take to go through a class where you can learn to do this?
Well, to become a certified Feng Shui practitioner, it's a 60-hour program, plus a little bit for your project and for you to do some journaling and some things that you'll be kind of inspired to do outside of class. The school is recognized as in meeting with the gold standards of the International Feng Shui Guild. The 60 hours that you put into the certification program, I match those 60 hours. I'm there with you every step of the way. It's not an online program where you go and study on your own and test out and meet with me on Skype once in a while. Or it's not, and it's definitely not a class where you show up and there's a bunch of people. It's a one-on-one class, and I'm invested in you because I see how important the process is that you work through you first. You know, it really does begin with you, and you kind of need to have those experiences where we meet once a week or meet every 2 weeks. You get to take home, bring back things that are rising up for you now that we get to discuss, because so much of the class is really spent too just discussing things that are coming up now that you have these new eyes, these feng shui eyes that you're seeing the world through. Things are going to come up that are like, wow, I really need to take a look at this. And then so we spend time during class addressing those things. That way you're really prepared then when you walk into someone else's home. You've done your work, and now you can go and help others.
Awesome. And I want people to know, how to get hold of you. I mean, what about if somebody is, you said you don't do things online, but what if someone was in another state?
That's a good question.
Can you do Skype type things?
Absolutely. I have a woman in the UK who will be doing the first part of her studies. We'll be meeting via Skype. She's had a little bit of practice already, but whether you have or you haven't, we can definitely do Skype. I really like that one-on-one. I want to be able to see you. And then she'll have to travel here to the States and to do the field work where we do go into homes and businesses and travel around doing field trips, looking at landform, so we can have that one-on-one. So we can always work something out.
And you do have other smaller classes. If someone's not looking for the certification, they're just looking for the pillars or for, I don't know, what other type of smaller classes do you have, or do you have them?
Yes, I do. I do have the smaller classes. Like you said, if someone's interested in throwing a 4-pillar party, get your girlfriends together, make it a potluck or whatever. And we look at each other's charts. We learn and interpret each other's charts. Another class that I'm offering too is a lot of people want to take this feng shui journey and understand it, but don't necessarily want the certification. So it's just a step down from that. Not a step down, but you know what I mean. It's just it's not taking that extra level of taking it to certification.
Like auditing a class instead of getting a grade for it.
Yeah, it really, because it's such a journey. It's such a process to see yourself through these eyes, through this lens.
I love the 4-pillar party. That sounds like a blast.
They're really fun. And then from that, usually we'll say, well, what about my house now? So then a follow-up for the 4-pillar party would then be, okay, everybody come back on another day with your floor plans. Let's take your charts. Let's apply the compass to your floor plan, and let's take a look at things that you can do. Instead of hiring someone to come in and do it, let's empower you to do it.
So, give me an example of a case study, like a before and after. What sort of things? I mean, does anything come to mind where someone had a specific request or goal, and was that accomplished? How quickly did it take, or what sort of things were happening with whatever case that you want to think of?
Okay, I do have one in mind. A friend of mine, she had called me to her house. I think it was the second time, and after a couple of years, and her husband had moved his business home, and now he was working out of home. And you know how when you walk in the front door, just off to the side, there's that office or that formal area, greeting area. Well, his office was set up in this area, and business wasn't doing well. It was an audio video business, and he was really wanting to move this business forward and was really excited about it, but the business wasn't there. Well, he doesn't have a storefront. This is their home. They're in a neighborhood. And, just standing in this front bay window of his office looking out on the front stoop, I was pointing out to my friend, and I said, everything out here is dead. The plants aren't thriving. It needs to be cleaned up. And I would suggest that you get some pots, some colorful pots, because we want to grab this chi. And plus there was a road that was kind of intersecting their property that was coming from the opposite direction. And I said, I know this kind of sounds funny, but I really want you to get like an open sign, like someone would have on their storefront, that in the morning when he's open for business, he can flip that sign and say open. It doesn't need to be a big flashing neon sign. It can just be a little sign. And when you flip that, when he does that every morning, he can say, okay, I'm open for business. Well, she had come to a class of mine sometime, I think within weeks later, and she says, you are not going to believe this. We have never made so much money. Just us, we went right to work. We cleaned up that front area of the yard. We put in some new plants, got some pots up. I helped them arrange them a little bit. And we put that open sign, and I think they added a little water feature right there in that bay window because they were facing the north.
All right, let's hear more about that when we come back from this next break. Stay with us.
You're listening to the Dr. Kevin Radio Network.
Okay, we're back for the final segment of Taking Control of Your Health, where we offer you the third opinion. And we are with Tina Falk, who is a expert in the art of Feng Shui. This chick knows everything. I love the 4-pillar parties. So Tina's telling us about a particular experience that someone had hired her to do Feng Shui in their home. Awesome results. So let's finish up that story, Tina.
Well, that was basically the end of the story. They just keep getting more and more successful. Her husband is busier than ever. She said they've made more money in the last year than they had made the whole time he was trying to set up and get going with this business. And they were just really excited about it and excited to share their success story.
And I want people to know how to get hold of you. I mean, if this is something you can do, Skype. Don't you love Skype? I mean, there's nothing better, I mean, you contact people. Even one of our show hosts on the Dr. Kevin Radio Network, Olivia, she is from the UK, and she's an awesome person. And so it's so nice that we can all come together over Skype and the radio. So how is someone, if they want to learn what, maybe they don't want to fully jump into things, the pillar party's great. So everything is going to build on itself. So how do people get more information about what it is they can get from you?
Really, there's 2 places that are the best. I have 2 websites. One's more of a personal site because on the side I do other things as well. And that website is tinafalk.com. So TINAFALK.com. And the other one is the school website. And the name of the school is Design Wisdom Feng Shui, Design Wisdom School of Feng Shui. And that web address is designwisdomschool.com.
Designwisdomschool.com. I love it. Okay. And so if you have any questions for Tina, don't hesitate to call. She can answer anything. She knows absolutely everything about Feng Shui, certainly more than I do. And I thought I was pretty well versed on it. But you're going to end up teaching me a lot of things. I think we're going to know each other for a while because I want you to look at my office and say, okay, what am I doing wrong here? Am I missing anything? Because, you look at things so long for a while. And I know, I told you, when you came in that I look at things for a very long time and say, is that its home? Is that where it belongs? Because sometimes if things don't move right, you want to move it. If things are cluttered, clean it. Feng Shui hates clutter, and that causes stagnant energy. I had a girl that I used to go to school with, and in her house, everything is very neat, tidy, and organized, except one room. And so when she had a Feng Shui by one of our instructors, he'd go in, he'd say, you got to clean up this room. I was like, the first thing he told me, this has to be cleaned up. I think it was the husband's office or something. It was quite cluttered. And he had her put fountain right up front, not with any moving water, just simple water sitting. And then with our house, our reverse house. You didn't know you can reverse a house, did you? Well, let me tell you, you can, and it is bad. He said you need to put 7 black fish without the pump, and it needs to go in the center of the house. He said, well, the center of the house is the hallway, and we have white carpet. I don't think, black fish are going to fare well, people going down the hallway, We're going to have black fish all over the carpet and water, too. So there are ways that you can correct things in simple. So let's say, Tina, that I'm going to throw one out here at you. So let's say someone says, I just need to improve my money situation. And what would be a simple thing that I could do to start changing it? What would be a good recommendation?
For your money? Is that what you asked?
Yeah, we all want more money. Lord knows we're not being able to keep too much of it, but I didn't vote for him. So how do we get more to try to get a little bit ahead of the game?
The money sector is the southeast of your home.
Okay.
So look just now, close your eyes if you have to, or get up and go look into the southeast area of your home. There's a lot of great apps that you can get for your phones that have a compass on them. And you kind of really want to know exactly where the southeast in your home is. Even though we live in the valley, and I know a lot of the listeners aren't in the valley, and we're set up on this grid system, but it's the poles are shifting and things are on the move. And so understand where the southeast of your home is. What's over there? Do you have a bathroom that has drains? Are things draining away? Do you have just a garage where it sits empty for most of the time, or it's, just the cars coming in and out? Is it somebody's bedroom? Look at what the energy is. Look through Feng Shui eyes and see and think about that space in terms of your money flow. Are you holding on to it? Is it even getting into that area of the home? Or do you have a bunch of bushes on that side that there's no way that money can get into the home there? So think about it that way and be inspired then to take action, to move something. You want to that's the area of wood. It's a yin wood energy. That means it's a feminine, softer energy. So to bring in some plants would be a great idea. The lucky bamboo is a wonderful yin wood treatment for the abundance area. That area is not so much just about money either. It's also about self-worth, what you feel about yourself. And this year with the conflict star flying in there of number 3, to place a little red Buddha figurine, something that symbolizes peace in that area, to settle that energy.
Well, now I'm thinking about my house, and this is where we have 3 levels. And on the first level, the southeast part is the garage. On the second level, the southeast part is the pantry. And on the third level, the southeast corner is my granddaughter's bedroom. So that's interesting. Now I have to figure out how to correct that.
Yeah, and where your granddaughter's bedroom is, is she there all the time? Is she just there once in a while? You want to make sure that if it is a room that's being neglected or it doesn't have the flow through it, that you're at least going in there and greeting that room, activating that energy in there to have something moving, even if it is a little solar powered, one of those little waving kitties or a flower.
Oh, yeah.
Those
things are funny. We were looking at one of those the other day. It's just really, what is that for? So now I get it, a waving kitty.
Yeah, and it just keeps the energy moving in that.
Well, I have plants in the other on the other side, the southwest side. So I think I'll just move them over into her room.
There you go.
There you go. Okay, got that solved.
So you're already inspired.
I am inspired because there's not a whole lot I can do in the pantry. I'll put some plants in the pantry. Okay, so once again, it's tinafalk.com.
Yes.
Or
designwisdomschool.com.
Designwisdomschool.com. And so a pillar party. So give me an idea of how someone, is that something you could do over Skype as well?
Maybe. It depends on how many people are involved. It's nice to just be there so that we can I'm kind of old school. I like to put things on the overhead projector, put a chart up on the wall and have us look at it after we've, done some pre-lessons and everything. Usually about 5 to 8 people is about right. That way everybody gets a chance to get their questions in and share and just kick back. It's very informal. I can come to your house. You can come to my classroom that's in my home out in Harriman.
Okay.
I'm so easy and flexible. We'll make it work.
And I think that sounds like a lot of fun. So I'm going to have to gather up some people together. And Tina, I'm going to go ahead and say thank you for being my guest. I mean, this has been such an eye-opening experience for me. I mean, like I said, I know a lot about it, but obviously there's so much more for me to learn. So I want to thank you for showing up. Once again, tinafalk.com, or you have to help me. I don't know why I keep forgetting. Design Wisdom School.
DesignWisdomSchool.com. Thank you, Tricia. And I have a lot to learn too. And it's my wonderful clients and students that bring that to light every day.
Well, I think we're going to know each other for quite a while. So I would say thank you for coming. And so we're going to have more guests coming up in the near future. We are looking to find a homeopath, because homeopathy is another form of medicine that is just absolutely fascinating, and not a lot of people fully understand it. And so it's another way to look at it. So I want to thank you for joining me on Taking Control of Your Health, where we offer you the third opinion and other options, other ways of doing things. And get online and wish me a happy birthday, because it's hump day and we're going out to party. So I will see you next week, and have a wonderful night. And feel free to contact Trish at goldfishacupuncture.com if you have any acupuncture questions. And we will see you next week.
You're listening to the Dr. Kevin Radio Network.